I got hit by one of these 15 months ago. I was out on my bike, minding my own business, and a guy on autopilot just came out of a junction, cleaned me out, knocked me into the other side of the road, broke the collarbone. That was 15 months ago, but crueler than that, I was flying at the time. It was 3 weeks after I'd just represented GB in the middle distance age group triathlon European Championships in Romania. And it was 3 weeks until my first ever Ironman. I was on full form. But, of course, I never made it to the Ironman. And it's been a torrid 15 months since. And just this last week, I got my final compensation payout from the crash. But before I tell you how much it is, and what I'm going to do with it, coffee. And check this out, this is something I'm really excited about. That's right, I've got a new Bowden style Chemex. I'm starting to make coffee in that style because obviously I watch Peter McKinnon. I'm really excited about it, but do not judge me because this channel is all about learning and I'm pretty sure the first few attempts are going to be atrocious. But let's get back to the compensation payout and what's happened to me the last 15 months. The first thing that was super important to me was that if I was going to receive a compensation payout, then I was going to make sure that I was 100% recovered and able to fund any type of onward going physiotherapy with that payout. Anything less would be a joke to me because it put me out of pretty much the whole year just gone. And I'm a PE teacher and I was representing GB at the time, so it had to be right. And do you know what? It wasn't even really ever about the money, it was more about principle. The guy that hit me with his car pretty much wasted a year's worth of training for me and ruined the next year as well. And you know what? Until I was absolutely certain that I was going to be able to compete at the level that I was at before the accident, there was no chance of me settling. Because let's be honest, everyone knows how insurance companies function. They chuck a little bait offer out, a little teaser, and enough that if you really needed the money, you'd take it without any hassle. But I didn't really need the money. What I needed was to be better. And if you follow the channel, then you'll know that this whole year was spent going through Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, back problems. You name the injury, I got it. The whole season was wiped out and I was getting angrier at the offers that they were making me. Because these injuries, they don't just come from nowhere. As a coach and an athlete, I know that. They come from something fundamentally changing in the way that you move. And since the crash, I was picking up injury after injury after injury. And that needed to be taken into account by the professionals that were dealing with this. So about 2 months ago, I thought that I was in a place in terms of injury and a place mentally and a place in terms of the offer where I'd accept that compensation. Not bad, needs improvement. So let me tell you where I'm at physically now. And as of this morning, I'm pretty proud to report that I'm in a reasonably good spot. And I'm not stupid enough to think that I'm fixed. But to celebrate, by the way, it's 17th of October, Saturday, me and the Windog there are going right up there, up the Downs, which is one of our favourite little jaunts together to celebrate and talk about what I've got in store for the future, because there's no point in dwelling on what has happened. Let's focus on what's gonna happen. I don't know if you can see this, but the elevation profile there is pretty steep. It's lovely though. It's so steep.
that is a climb. But I suppose it's quite indicative, quite similar to the journey I've been on. Although, I mean, they're both as painful as each other, really. But when you look at this view, it does make it all worth it, and it's a good metaphor for how I'm feeling right now. It is all worth it. Everything I've been doing is all worth it, and I'm locked into a few things in 2021 that I want to share with you in terms of my journey. I want to share with you now. I'm going to provide training information as we go, as much as I can think of, to get you to your start line as well as me to my start line. And the main two races that I have are actually at the end of next season. First one being the London Marathon, 3rd of October 2021. Let's get this on. And I'm really pumped for London because it was cancelled this year, which actually did me a favour because I wouldn't have been in my best shape. But next year, I'm aiming to run a PB. I feel like I've got a sub 250 in me, and I want to try and qualify as a good phrase runner as many years in a row. So I'm going to be putting out a lot of content around running personal bests in any distance, really. Before the London Marathon, at the end of August, I've got what will be the end of a 3-year journey that was meant to be a 1-year journey, and that is Ironman Copenhagen 2021. Obviously, the first year was blown out because of the crash. Second year, blown out because of COVID. Third time lucky. So there'll also be triathlon training, hints, tips, tricks, tutorials, you name it, on the channel as well, if that floats your boat. And everything in between. A lot of mindset work, because believe me, I need it just as much as everybody else. But before then, considering that's 10 months away, I'm going to share with you everything I do in the lead up to those two races. We're talking winter training, 5k races, 10k races, half marathons, probably sprint distance triathlons, probably a middle distance triathlon. I'll share my successes, my theories behind it, my mindset training, and everything in between. So that's what you got to look forward to over the next 10 to 12 months. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. What payout did I get from the crash? And what am I going to do with it?
That was a good run. And you know what? You're probably wanting to know what my final payout was, so I'm going to tell you now. In the end, 15 months after the accident, when I decided to settle, I received £9,250 for the accident. It's still not what I wanted because, again, it was based on principle and they did not give me the full value of the Ironman entry fee that I lost. And I was willing to go to court for it, but in the end, I just decided that enough was enough. They really tried to drag me over the hot coals enough. I'll settle for that, done and dusted. Move on with my life, draw a line in the sand. And then you're probably wondering, what am I going to do with that money? Well, it's an easy answer, really. The majority of it we've invested. I've just invested the money for long-term gain and for our financial security. However, we are also treating ourselves a little bit because, you know, why wouldn't you when you got hit by a car? This is the first thing I bought. Have a look at this. This is my podcast studio. I have it set up, Rodecaster Pro. I'm so excited. Got the microphone over here and we've recorded 4 podcasts already, and it's basically 3 mates chatting about running, triathlon, exercise and learning off of other people. We're getting guests on, so check that out. It's on pretty much every podcast platform that you can find it. It's called Fitness Freaks, and I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a listen and at least give us some feedback about how terrible we are and how we can improve. And if you haven't already seen the videos, I bought Mary a Garmin Vivo Active 4S with the money because I thought that she deserved a little something for putting up with me for the last 12 to 15 months of injury. I then bought both of us the Nike Air Zoom Alpha Fly Next Percent Jobbies. They're barely used so far, but we're going to use them in races. We've got one coming up in the next week, so stay tuned for that, and there's also a video for this. And finally, the 2 things that I'm going to buy myself, or 3 things potentially, and let's get back to why I'm buying these in a second. I'm going to get myself a power meter. Finally, I'm going to take the leap and be able to train with power on my bike. I'm going to buy a new drone because I just love Casey Neistat and I want a drone like he's got. And I'm going to buy a few more pairs of trainers to get in my rotation and also review. But why am I doing all this? That bit's easy. The whole reason that I'm doing all this, the whole reason that I'm buying these things is of course to benefit myself, but also to benefit you. I can see the value in making a podcast and creating a podcast. I could see the value in reviewing products like the Vivo Active, and then I was buying things that I wanted, but I wanted to give value back to everyone that is part of this crazy community. And when I say community, I don't just mean This Messy Happy, although I'm so proud to say that people watching this, that you're part of this. But I mean in general the wider running community, because I'm sure we all follow lots of running YouTubers. I do, and I'm just really proud to be part of it in my own little way. And I'm proud to interact with you on a daily basis in the comments of YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, you name the medium. I try and interact and have a chat, and I'm really looking forward to that day at some point, hopefully in the near future, when COVID is gone and we're able to actually all meet up and have a run together. But until that point, I'll just keep trying to crank out some value for you guys. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching and thank you for being part of this. Every cloud has a silver lining. Even being hit by a car can benefit us in the long term once you've got over the anger. See you next week. And if you want to find out more about us and our journey, this is a playlist of our best bits. This is the subscribe button. This is see you next week.